Might have been raised on this block, might have wandered here from far. No matter where you come from, no matter who you are, don't need no ID, you don't need no membership card. Don't you know you're always welcome in my Father's house? Might be a child of the streets, might be a rich man's son. No matter what you're doing, no matter what you've done, when you got nowhere to hide, you got nowhere left to run. Don't you know you'll find shelter in my Father's house? When you're lonely and discouraged and misery has no end, when you need a helping hand and no one wants to lend, when you're down on your knees and you're begging for a friend, don't you know you'll surely find one in my Father's house? When you're mistreated in this world like a stranger in your own land, when the chains around your heart are just too much to stand, when heaven's just a word or heaven's close at hand, come and lay your burden down now in my Father's house. Don't you know you'll find shelter in my Father's house? Don't you know you're always welcome in my Father's house?
That was Pat Wictor kicking us off today for our service and reminding us to lay our burden down into our Father's house. Wonderful welcome tune. My name's Maria Jessop, and I'm your platform assistant today. Also, I'd like to welcome our Unity Minister, Rev Sandra Butler. And we now come to our centering prayer. As usual, I'm going to draw on A Course in Miracles, which is an endless source of inspiration for me. And this is a compilation. And after each new phrase, I will repeat the phrase, God is but love, and therefore so am I. If you like, you can repeat this phrase out loud at home along with me. I am as God created me. God is but love, and therefore so am I. The power of decision is my own. God is but love, and therefore so am I. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. God is but love, and therefore so am I. I will step back and let him lead the way. God is but love, and therefore so am I. I walk with God in perfect holiness. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Into his presence would I enter now. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Now we are one with him, who is our source. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Amen.
This is a song called Go Tell Mary. I co-wrote it with a friend of mine named Tom Prasada Rao, who is a wonderful musician, lived in Maryland. He crossed over just this past summer. I found out through writing the song with my friend Tom that he had been in seminary, and he knew the Bible like the back of his hand, and so he was writing the song based on the story of Mary and Martha, but he'd written himself into a corner. So he asked me to help him out, and what we figured out was the song is from the point of view of Martha, and she's feeling a lot of things as she is watching her sister Mary hanging out with Jesus after the death of their brother Lazarus. There's a chorus here that I would love to have you all sing along to. It goes like this. Go tell Mary, go tell Mary, go tell Mary, go tell Mary. So those first two parts are call and response. And this last part we do together. It goes, I don't wanna be Martha no more. I don't wanna be Martha no more. Try it. Ready? I don't wanna be Martha no more. You guys have it. Good. Let's do it. Lazarus lay in his tomb asleep. Mary swoons at the Savior's feet, and I'm in the kitchen fixing something to eat again. And I've been picking up the slack since God knows when. Go tell Mary, go tell Mary, go tell Mary, go tell Mary, I don't wanna be Martha no more. I went to the Lord out of love for you, to see if there's something that he could do to bring back that brother of yours and mine. Because it hurts my heart to see you grieving all the time. Go tell Mary, go tell Mary, go tell Mary, go tell Mary, I don't wanna be Martha no more. Am I the rock holding up our house? Is it my job to keep us from falling down? Lord, I'll do my duty with joy someday. I wanna walk in the light and chase the darkness away. Go tell Mary, go tell Mary, go tell Mary, go tell Mary, I don't wanna be Martha no more. Let's do it one more time. Go tell Mary, go tell Mary, Go tell Mary, go tell Mary, I don't want to be Martha no more. I don't want to be Martha. I don't want to be Martha no more. One more time, just humming it now.
Thank you, Pat. And thank you all for being here. Oh, I'm so thrilled to see you all. It's marvelous always to be with you. And today we are going to have a co creation that throws us back maybe in time and maybe not. There are some of us who are not familiar with the story, the parable, as it were, which is a short story of Mary and Martha, or as a good friend of mine says, no, it's Martha and Mary. Let's get it straight. And the fact of the matter is, it matters, but it doesn't matter because you won't remember when you walk away from all of this. So I say that to you because the point, the lesson within the parable, all of the parables that we see, at least most that I've come up against, not against, for, with, in the Bible, have a lesson within them. Many of us will know the parable, we'll know the story, but gee, we're hard pressed to know what the lesson was, okay? And we take great Martha hand of victory in knowing we know the parable. Do we remember the lesson? Not so much. And the hand comes down. And so I bring this to you almost within, the dolls, DOLLS, that sit one within another. I forget the name of it, nesting dolls or nesting things. You will find with most parables, there's a nest of lessons within lessons. And I find that fascinating. And what I'm going to share with you, which you probably have done this yourself with a parable that you may have looked at, is for the first brush, we get maybe the first lesson, but we don't necessarily always know there's at least 7 or 8 more, underneath the spiritual understanding in a given story or a given parable. And it has come to my mind recently and my thought process and heart that I need to go and have another look at the parables, at the stories in the Bible, particularly those involving Jesus. And yes, there are Old Testament parables, but the New Testament was always one where I felt like I hadn't done enough work. And for those of you that feel like you've done a whole lot of work on the New Testament, well, hang on, because I ventured to guess there's another lesson in certainly the parable as it relates to Martha and Mary. Oh, did I say that? Mary and Martha, and Lazarus, that you haven't really looked at. So we're going to take a shot at it today. And we won't cover the waterfront, and that's the good news, is because by the time we're finished, I'll actually have you going through the belly of the whale, which is the great sign of Jesus, which is until we are fully present, until we know what it is to be fully present, we will go through first the gift of the belly of the whale, which is Jonah. So we're not going to do all of that in this particular time. Heavens, let's see if we can get through Mary and Martha or Martha and Mary. So let's begin with the Bible verse. And I do this mostly to bless our time together and to seed our co-creation. And so I'm reading to you from Luke chapter 10. And this is verses 38 through until I finish. Now, as they went on their way, he entered a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. We're talking about Jesus now, is the he. She had a sister named Mary who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to what he was saying. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks. So she came to him and asked, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself. Tell her then, please, Lord, to help me. But the Lord answered her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. There is need of only one thing. And the last line is the one where people like to get their teeth into, which is Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken away from her. Now, why did he have to go and say that? I was rooting for Martha. I thought she had a valid argument. What's the problem? Now, you can see from the way I've intoned that and read it, that is what I call my little Sandy interpretation of a huge, wonderful lesson. And the little Sandy, I know I'm not alone, who did first interpreted this was, now, just a minute here. I'm doing all this work, and what's Mary doing? She's getting the high praise, and I'm getting zip. You know, he's telling me twice he calls my name and wants to know how come I'm on into many things. He recognizes that, I guess. But he then tells me many things. It's Mary who has her eye on the one thing. So as we move along in the story, or as I do, and I'll bring myself into this because it's always such good fun to do that for me. I don't know about for you. And I know, though, on some level, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You see, Mary and Martha are demonstrations of each of us. They are individualized expressions. Oh, there's that wonderful title we use all the time of the divine. Well, I don't know about you, but when I was little Sandy saying, now, wait a second, how come she gets all the praise and I get nothing? I'm not sure there was any divinity in that. I know there was a bunch of humanity. And I know that Martha, the Martha that I know and love, by the way, and oh, by the way, just so you know it, it's been interpreted that Jesus loved them both equally. And they loved Jesus. These were two women and their brother, who was raised from the dead by Jesus, who were very good friends of Jesus. We don't hear about friends of Jesus very, very much in what we read in the Bible. And some of you may also question, well, why did you pick this parable? There's so many other parables that I think I would like to hear about. And I would say to your little person who asked that question, that's where you are spiritually. That's why you want an answer to that question. I don't have an answer to a question except this. You and I, all of us, are on a spiritual journey. And on that spiritual journey, we are trying to develop ourselves spiritually. And I thought by choosing the parable of Mary and Martha, it would be an excellent start. And why is that? Because most of us are in the whole Martha routine for a very long time in our lives. And we walk into and walk with Mary when we sometimes remember it, knowing it is the better way. Why is it the better way? Here's what I have found in my part of our co-creation. You may want to list what you have found. The Mary consciousness is the consciousness of being fully present to God, to herself, and to Jesus. And what she is, when I say and to Jesus, she's fully present to both Jesus, the man, her friend, as well as Jesus, the representation, the demonstration, the incarnation of God on earth in me. So I bring that all out at once to us because it's something that we don't always remember. Never mind the fact that on a bad day, some days, we flat out don't think about it. And that is the one good thing that Jesus is talking about that he brings to Martha first. The Martha that lives in herself, who is not present to anything except her needs, her wants, and her pain. However, Martha is also present to her love of Jesus on a level that isn't the same as Mary's. Mary consciousness means being fully present and seeing with the eyes of our divinity. And Mary was fully present. She knew and understood the one thing that was important in life, and only one thing, and that is the presence of God and God in us. And Martha saw the value of doing many things and doing them well, by the way, from all reports. And yet she felt slighted. She felt less than. She knew that Jesus had said, Mary has the one thing. In other words, Mary was being fully present to herself and the divine within her, to her love of Martha, her sister, and it was shown many times in the Bible that they loved each other deeply. This was not a resentment factor going on here. This was a fact. How come Mary gets to sit at your feet and be with you, and I have to run around doing many things? And Jesus said forthrightly, you do, Martha, Martha, so many things, and Mary does one thing, and it is the better thing. Now, we can take all the divinity of better and chew on it. That's not what we're about here today. We're about today to see in this parable, what is the lesson? And what is my lesson in this parable? Do you put God first in everything? Let's get it down to and up to that Mary consciousness. Is God everywhere, in everything, in every part of your life? And let me just do a little listing here. Is God in you? Are you present to yourself? Are you present to the God in you? That's a big one. Are you present to God in nature? Are you present to God when you see someone that you really don't like? Is God present either in you or the person you don't like? And what does that mean? I'm asking you a question and I'm asking you to evaluate that. And some of you, I have friends that will say, don't ask me that again. I flat out don't like that person. There is no God. Oh, no. And they mean it. And that's what I'm asking us, and I'm asking you. Is God fully present in all of your life, in every aspect? And let's face it, folks, I'm one of those folks who thinks, oh, some days I got great control over what I do, where I go, and who I see. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, I'm in a pickle that I jarred myself. I'm with someone that doesn't necessarily, I think, belong in my pickle jar. And I would rather that they go away. Now, that's a gracious way of saying, ooh, you're in my world and I don't like you, go away. Really, I don't find any divinity in that. I find a chunk of humanity that needs a whole lot of working, a whole lot of Mary consciousness. And you know what? We all have Mary consciousness, but we in our wonderful, sometimes humanity, think that we can kind of separate it all out and put it in its right and better category. And it's fine if you don't like a particular person, or you don't like a particular food, or you don't like a particular place to go. Do you recognize there's divinity in all of it? That God is present in all things. And then we get to the presence where we see it, and it's not as mundane as I just pointed it out. It's on our world stage, okay? It also may be in the drama that goes on in our families. How about the drama that goes on within yourself? Sometimes we get into a Martha consciousness that says, I have to fix this, I have to be this, and I have to do it right now. And where is Jesus and the one thing? And the one thing, where is God? Are you fully present in God? The fact that we're asking questions like, why am I here? How can I fix this? Where am I going? What is my purpose? All of those are nice, but they're not of the divine. And so some of you may say, well, I'm not there yet, Reverend Sandy. I'm just not there, meaning you don't necessarily understand the lesson in the parable. And here's where the lesson begins. When you have a parable such as this, and Jesus has said very forthright, Martha, Martha, you are into so many things, and there's only one thing, then it follows for us to make sure we understand not necessarily the difference between Mary and Martha. I think most of us get that. I think most of us knew that by the time we were 10. We knew there was a willful Martha living right here. And we knew there was a willingness of Mary that was also present but not nurtured. Okay? Just keep that. But did we know that there was divine in us? And did we clearly understand that we were being schooled in the divine in order to reach Mary consciousness, in order to take Martha and fold her into Mary? And you may say, well, that's the first time I ever heard that one. Well, listen up, because that is what we are going to co-create here. And how we do that is important to those of us humans, especially, I will say, and I say especially, that's my word, now in this world. We must work at this, folks. And here's some tips, if you will, that came in the Bible, not from me and not from any scholar and not from the ancients. They were kicked along as we kick the can down the road. But many of us say, yeah, there goes that can down the road, give it another kick. But we don't stop and say, what's in that? And why am I kicking it down the road? As opposed to taking a hard look. What is it you mean, Reverend Sandy, when you say, do I understand? And do I remember and use the divinity that is within me? Do I share that? And the tips are things like this. And these come straight from Mary Consciousness, and you can find them if you are looking for them. And the Mary Consciousness comes, and you will know this phrase, from letting go. And letting go is another term for forgiveness. And that is something that we can practice, most of us, every single day of our lives. I'm going to talk about Mary Consciousness now for a bit, because Mary found the one thing, and the one thing, according to Jesus, that he wanted us to remember was to always know, to have, and to put God first. And what is God first? God first is this. God first is when we are fully present with a small p. I said fully present. Our hearts, our minds, and our very souls are fully present. And we, my friends, do not spend enough time on that, enough practice, as we like to say. I'm not sure why, but our humanity has ruled the roost for thousands of years. We go to the human part first. And the one thing Jesus asked us to remember was to go and be the divine in you first. First, not second, not maybe, not next door, not in the backyard. First in all things. Think of the people in your life. Think of the events in your life. Think of your world right now. Are you fully present to that? Or, as is wont for many of us, we're hiding. We don't want to get involved. We don't want to say anything. We just wish it would all pass by. And you know what? Here's where Martha comes in again. That's where you are right now in your thinking. It is maybe where we are in our thinking. And that is okay. There's not judgment. There's not shame. It is. You have declared it. That is where you are. But to run from it, to hide from it, that is where we fall down, I think, and could bring ourselves up very easily. Be authentic with yourself, because when you're in authentic self, you are also always in your divinity. You are fully present to the fact that you know you're working on it. You're here. This is right where you are. And you're fully present to that thought. You're not hiding from it. It's not a big secret. No one says it shouldn't be. It is what it is, and you recognize it. Now, the question is, do you want to stay there? Or do you want to know more about this being fully present? When we are fully present, it means we see rightly. We can see, and here's the lesson within the lesson, the many things of Martha. But when we see it rightly, we see those many things in the divinity that we are. And we do not judge or take umbrage to those many things that are being practiced when we know the one thing Jesus asked was that we see rightly, that we see those people in our lives who maybe we think don't measure up, aren't very nice, we don't like. Go on, and build your fear if you want, or your doubt, or your criticism. What we are looking at when we look at 1,000 things through the seeing rightly lens is something that is being fully present. And in that fully presence is the wisdom, is the knowing, is the divinity that we have in ourselves. And where I will bring this also is into prayer, because we in unity, we will say, I'll take it to prayer. I'm one that does that all the time. And we do. We take it to prayer. We take it to the prayer group, maybe. We take it to our prayer partner. The one thing that I ask of you is to consider, do you see in the parable? The one thing is when you are fully present when you take it to prayer. You're not just going down a prayer list. You're not just saying a name. You're in the prayer. That is the one thing of being fully present and seeing rightly what you are about. When you can take all the names on the prayer list, when you can take the horror of our world, when you can take all that is what we think not a right thing and put it into the glass of seeing rightly, then you are fully present to all that's going on in your life and in your world, both what we call the negative, the positive, all of it. And you are not judging, you are not shaming either yourself or anyone else. You see all of it as in the God sees all of us. That, my friends, is what we call wisdom. When you see rightly, you are already in a place of wisdom. And here's the other part that I will leave you with, because we could go much deeper with all of this, is there's a great paradox in being fully present and seeing all of our world and doing it with the wisdom, with the love of Jesus, of the God that we know. And the paradox is a tension that happens within us. You mean I'm looking at that I so disagree with, that I so do not love, and you're asking me to see it rightly, to see where it is and where I am? Yes, that is the one thing. Now, here is something else. You don't learn how to use that sight. It's a gift. And it's a gift. How do you receive that gift? And here's the part where we all have this learning. It's in this same parable, and it's moved on into the parable regarding Jonah and in the belly of the whale. You are gifted with this kind of insight, with this kind of wisdom. You don't learn it. You don't go to a book about it. You don't listen to a teacher about it. You hear it, but until you have experienced it in the belly of the whale, you don't know that kind of wisdom, that kind of sight of being fully seeing, of fully sightful, you know what I'm saying, fully seeing, of truly letting go of something, not just saying you're letting go of something, of praying with your full heart. And here is how many say is the only way to be gifted with that kind of wisdom. If you're got to be gifted, that means I have to wait and be gifted. Yes, that's exactly what it means. You don't go looking for this except through seeing your world rightly. And when, my friends, you are gifted, you have gone through the belly of the whale. And there's only two portals that most spiritual teachers have ever taught. Two ways of getting through the belly of the whale, and that is great love and great suffering. And I say great because that's what the spiritual teachers also say. And unless you have gone through a great suffering, or a great love that maybe you're still working in and through, then the belly of the whale, you have not passed through that belly of the whale. And when you do finally, and I think we all do, I think that is the eternal hope of mankind, that we will pass through the belly of the whale. It will not be in our control. It will be in a time that is truly divine. But when we do, we will be fully present to ourselves, to the God within. And that is the sign of the whale. Please, we're going to go right into meditation with this. And I ask that you would just simply take your hands, if you will, and just lift them like this on your lap. Just rest them gently, if you'd like to, if you wish to. But make the hands open or view them open as receiving and giving and understanding that here and now we have co-created a new and precious moment in how we move forward, in how we be. And that is the essence of one thing, to be here and to be now. And we demonstrate yet another lesson, yet another part of this wonderful parable of being still and being present in this time of meditation. This is the time for us to now practice being fully present. We do this in meditation, and we say that we do this in meditation. Are you fully present? Allow your mind to be still. Cast out those thoughts that do not serve the peace of God here and now. Your heart to open to a love that is eternal, that says, I am loved now and forever. I am a child of the universe. I'm a child of spirit. And we focus now only on the breath. For it is in the breath of God, that we know our oneness. We feel it. We are it. And we willingly receive and give the breath, the love of God now, in this moment. Just breathe into that knowing. We are alive. We are divine. And our humanity supports that. Well, that is the essence of who we are. That is the foundation. We truly are Martha in Mary, and Mary in Martha, and all is one. And that is the one thing. Not the world. The world is part of the one. We are the one. Thank you now. Thank you all, each and all, for being present, for your very presence. Thank you. Your presence is here, is now, and it is your light in our world. And for just a moment of silence, let us be still and know the presence. We come fully to this time and to this place. We see rightly. We love. And we suffer. And we know all is God. We give thanks. We give Alleluia. And we say Amen.
This is a song almost all of you know, so just sing along. I Can See Clearly Now by Johnny Nash. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. Gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. Gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. Gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
come to our closing prayer today, I'd like to invite you to resume that meditative state that Reverend Sandy put us in, and to close your eyes and put your hands back on your thighs and in an open position, and to reconnect with your breath and to see a light in between your eyebrows, to see it glowing and radiant. We affirm the health, wholeness, and happiness of all those gathered here today. We affirm the health, wholeness, and happiness of all our family members, friends, and colleagues, past, present, and future. We affirm the health, wholeness, and happiness of all those we think about and communicate with and encounter by chance today. We affirm the health, wholeness, and happiness of everyone in our home, in our neighborhood, and in our city. We affirm the health, wholeness, and happiness of everyone in our country, in this world, and beyond this world. We are a great wave of love, joy, peace, and forgiveness that is washing over us in glad recognition that we are one.